What's shaking, people? I'm back with another reaction, back with some more Duran Duran. We're going back to their 2000 album Pop Trash again. I did want to mention, I know a number of you have commented it's not your favorite album, and I totally respect that, I get that. And I know it was sort of a transitional period for the group. But ultimately, again, I just have to explore all the albums. Incidentally, I'm on the edge of acquiring a copy of Astronaut and Liberty. I mentioned before, I had to wait a couple weeks. Power Station should be here any day now. It's supposed to either be here tomorrow or the day after. I should mention that. But yeah, I'm almost at the point where I can make a couple more purchases, so those will be the next two I get. I do eventually want to get the Thank You album as well, which I know has like a bunch of covers on it and so on. So yeah, basically, eventually, we're gonna try to go the full distance here, and a number of you have either sent me bonus tunes or like given me access to like drives or folders in which there's also similar bonus material, so shout out to all of you. Yeah, just the positive response from Duran fans has been one of the most like heartwarming and surprising things on this channel. Yeah, Duran fans are obviously very cool people, positive people, and the more I do Duran reactions, the more to the degree to which that is true becomes apparent. Once again, I did want to give a shout out to the cover. I now understand this is a vehicle owned by Liberace, which very much does make sense. But again, I like the way the title of the album is expressed through the aesthetic image of a sort of, you know, like Model T Ford or whatever with glitz and glitter all over it. Once again, a number of you commented, even those of you who aren't fans of the album, and once again, shout out if you're not a fan of this album, but you're still watching this video, big ups to you that, you know, you're still willing to go on the different legs of these journeys, even those that you don't have the greatest experience with. But even a couple people who said they're not particularly fond of the album said Playing with Uranium is a good tune. You know, I sort of made like half reference to this, and I think I sort of flubbed the line anyway. But yeah, for a long time I've always wanted to joke about uranium when people bring it up as saying like, my ranium? I thought it was our ranium. And they're like, wait, what are you talking about? It's like, get it, like your uranium, and you know, like we're a married couple, and like I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, I've tried to like drop that joke a couple times, and then people just sort of look at me and stare like with an odd look. Nevertheless, I do like the title. I did get some insight. I'm forgetting exactly who it was. Was it Izzy? Yeah, I think it was maybe more than one person, but there were someone at least commented that this sort of relates to like an actual like event where I guess two like, you know, chemists or physicists, like college students, I think, university students, I think they actually tried to build like a homemade nuclear bomb essentially, and so the idea of playing with uranium. So yeah, and obviously, you know, radioactive materials, they have a lot of energy, which over a period of time, and depending on what their half-life is, it could either be very regularly, although that means, you know, they will go to an inert or non-radioactive substance more quickly, or the half-life will be longer, and so it means they will remain radioactive for a long period of time, but only occasionally shooting out a charged particle. And depending on what type of radiation it is, what particular element you're talking about, the released particles could be essentially in relation to you know, biological organisms like cotton balls in terms of, you know, the way they interact with your cells, but some can be like guns or cannonballs and so on. So again, it depends on what you're dealing with, but ultimately I've edited multiple manuscripts in relation to nuclear power, a carbon-free energy source. So I have like, you know, learned a lot about nuclear power in recent years. So yeah, uranium, there's a couple of different isotopes, like one that is like a highly enriched kind, and it comprises a very small part of the fuel. But those are the molecules that provide the most energy because they, you know, split the most readily when you shoot a neutron atom. But ultimately, playing with uranium still, despite the fact that, you know, I've taken an interest through my editing work in nuclear energy, is that it is fundamentally dangerous to play with uranium, right? Like the idea of playing is that you're not using it for a purpose, you're not necessarily being like careful and regimented in the way that you're dealing with some substance. You are, you know, handling it for fun or in a cavalier way, you're just messing around with it. So again, I think there is a very specific meaning, which I now understand through people commenting. Once again, shout out to those providing information, anecdotes about their own experiences, insight on the album's context, You are all fantastic. But yeah, so it is apparently about, in some ways, college students who tried to build their own nuclear bomb in a sort of homemade setting. But I do think you could take that phrase and apply it in a number of ways, that like playing with very volatile material, even if it might not in certain contexts or handled in a certain way be damaging or unsafe, if handled in a cavalier way without concern for the dangers at hand, it can be dangerous and harmful, if not lethal. So yeah, I feel like you could maybe take the phrase in a more general way, and as I've always said with lyrics, it is an interaction between listener and artist. The artist will have specific meanings, but what we've gone through in our lives, the way we see things, the way we experience things, it's like people don't always experience sound or music or colors in the same way. Some people have synesthesia and so on, and so the way in which we experience the world, including different like senses, will ultimately inform the way we understand music and lyrics. So yeah, I do think it's a dialogue. I do think there is sort of meaning flowing in both directions. But yeah, let's get to it. This is Playing with Uranium on the album Pop Trash 2000 by Duran Duran. Oh, yeah. Kind of like a warbly, like, sort of like you're looking at it through water, so it's like listening to it through water. Oh, yeah, got an edge to it. And it sounds like kind of hallucinatory. Which, the energy being released, and like the inherent force. Yeah, if you're messing around, that can happen. Yeah. It's got a bit of like alt rock grit to it. Got a bit of like a brooding nature to it a little. It's edgy, like, but like prickly, like sensitive in a sort of annoyed way. Oh. The guitar is like really standing out. Like there's some almost like string or like symphonic keywork that's like subtly in there, but it's like a very like raw kind of loud sound. Oh. And again, that wavy, like you're seeing double of it. Not like huge on alternative rock. I don't listen to it a lot, but it makes sense that if Duran Duran tries a flavor, it probably tastes pretty good, yeah? Again, it felt less synth rock, more alternative rock. which again, like, you know, I don't listen to a lot of songs in that sort of overall umbrella genre, but it doesn't surprise me that if Duran wanted to sort of go down that path, they would walk it well. Yeah, it's cool. Again, you know, sometimes when I listen to their songs for the first time, I catch more in the chorus than the verses. And again, I was talking about it in another video, I think it was the Falling Angel one. You know, I try not to talk over lines. I try not to like step on other parts of the tune that people might be waiting for. But yeah, if I want to sort of like have it be kind of the way my brain responds to things, I do sort of have to talk in the moment. So again, apologies if I'm sort of stepping on different parts, but yeah, that was cool. And I did get the lines in the chorus with the, you know, that it could blow up in his face, and if it does, you know, I'll see you on the other side, and so on. So, you know, knowing the sort of like literal inspiration for the song, that certainly makes sense. That, like, you know, if you have a criticality event, yeah, it might not cause an explosion, but yeah, you will not be in a good place, and so it could blow up in your face in a way that you wouldn't actually see, except for maybe a little flash of blue. But yeah, that would cause severe consequences. So yeah, again, it's a really fascinating song, whether you take it on a more literal level in terms of what I now understand to be sort of the source material, or whether, you know, you kind of think about it conceptually, the idea of playing with a very powerful and potentially impactful, but also very like volatile and dangerous substance. So yeah, let me know what you think. Again, apologies to those of you who aren't like fully into this album. I do respect it, but as I said, I just want to keep going down all the walkways that they've laid out over the years. So hopefully you can just kind of, you know, grit your teeth and bear it a little bit until we get through it. Again, I do apologize, but ultimately we're going to be up to Hallucinating Elvis next, which I think that's another one that people, a few people who don't particularly like this album said, you know what, it's still a cool tune. I think someone said like it's a cool tune, but like it's crazy or something like that. I'm trying to remember exactly what they said. I am getting a lot more comments these days, and I do try to reply to everyone, or at least like, you know, appreciate everyone, you know, if it like warms my heart, throw a like on it and so on. But ultimately, it is getting to the point where I may not like respond to everything right away, but still, I'm going to try to get to everything. So if I don't remember exactly who said what, I apologize, but at least like in the moment when I'm going through the comment listing in the YouTube studio, I try to get to everyone. So it may take me a while, but yeah, please do comment and let me know anything that you have to say about this tune. Let me know if you do have an interesting thought on Hallucinating Elvis before I get there. But yeah, that'll be the one we do from that album next time. Otherwise, thank you for listening and watching. I will see you then.